Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this morning, our topic is stress management. See, what we will talk about is to understand what causes stress. People talk about what to do after stress is created. Do some pranayama, you yoga, do all those kind of things will be suggested. But our discussion will center on what is the cause of, why does stress arise in the first place? If you remove the cause, the effect gets removed, simple rule. So we should know that stress is an effect. For example, if there are weeds in your garden, weed is an effect. If you simply remove it from the top, as long as the roots remain in the ground, they'll grow again. Therefore, you should pull out the weed from the root. Root is the cause. When the cause is removed, the effect gets removed. Otherwise, effect remains. I remember once, I was praying with my eyes closed, seated in front of my altar, and some ants came. I was bitten by some ants. I just removed them. They came again. I removed them. Came again. I kept on removing the ants. They kept on coming. Then I opened my eyes. What is the reason? I found that a couple of sugar crystals were lying there, and therefore the ants were coming. If you want the ants to stop coming, remove the cause. I removed the sugar crystals, ants stopped coming. So merely by brushing away, the ants will not go, by removing the cause. So this general rule in our life. Remove the cause, the effect goes away. Very often, we just give symptomatic treatment. Cough is there, give medicine for cough. Fever is there, give medicine for fever. Headache is there, give medicine for headache. Headache goes, fever comes. Fever goes, cough comes. Unless the root cause, which is a disease, maybe tuberculosis, maybe some root cause is there. Unless the root cause goes, the symptoms will not go. They will come back in different forms. Similarly, stress is a symptom. What is stress? Stress is a mental affliction. Like anxiety is stress. Fear is stress. Frustration is stress. Anger is stress. Resentment is stress. Jealousy is stress. So these are all stresses. All of these are symptoms. So they generally, when you go to stress management seminars, they'll give you symptomatic treatment. Like doing pranayama, breathing exercise is symptomatic treatment. Doing yoga, symptomatic treatment. Doing all these kind of things are nothing wrong in them. That also is okay. Sometimes you need symptomatic treatment to give you relief. But as I said, to remove the disease, you must remove the cause. So stress such as anxiety, such as worries, such as fear, all of these are symptoms of some basic disease. So this is where Vedanta comes. So Vedanta goes into the root cause of everything. That is the specialty of Vedanta. It inquires into what causes things. What is the root cause? Of course, according to Vedanta, root cause is ignorance. But we will not go to that cause today. Root cause is ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of my own self. We are born with ignorance. Ignorance of our own self. Meaning that we do not know what we truly are. And therefore, we take ourselves to be different from what we are. I'll give you an illustration of what Vedanta calls ignorance. If you have been listening to Vedanta talks, you may have heard the example of rope snake. Have you heard rope snake? How many people have heard of rope snake? Well, rope snake is a very common example given in Vedanta. Like sometimes taking a walk in the garden in the evening, there is not enough light, and you are taking, and you see a snake all of a sudden, you are scared, you walk away from there, go home and tell your father, oh, there is a snake there. So, yeah, I never seen a snake. Where did you get a snake? So then father comes with a torchlight. You come to that location where you saw the snake, show the torchlight, it turns out to be a piece of rope. So rope is mistaken to be a snake. Rope. So this is called the projection of snake, the delusion of snake. You know? What is delusion? Seeing something which is not there. What is not seeing what is there and seeing what is not there. Understand this. Not seeing what is there and seeing what is not there. Not seeing the rope which is there and seeing snake which is not there. You follow? This is called ignorance in Vedanta. It's called delusion. What is delusion? Not seeing what is and seeing what is not. So rope snake example is a very familiar example, famous example. All right, Swami, how does this rope snake apply in our life? This applies in our own life, or our own self. Not seeing what is and seeing what is not. What is? So what is the, what is the nature of ourselves? What is the nature of the self? Vedanta explains that the self, meaning you and I, are in fact limitless. Limitless means no limit, no want, no lack. You are full, you are complete. That is what Vedanta teaches, but we don't see that. What do we see about ourselves? We take ourselves to be incomplete beings, inadequate, lacking, wanting, always one after the other desire arising from ourselves. What does the desire show? Desire is the expression of some lack or a want, some incompleteness. You see, you can only desire something which you don't have. If you don't have a car, there's a desire for a car. Don't have a house, desire for house. So desire shows that you don't have something. So similarly, variety of desires keep on arising in our mind. That shows that we don't have so many things. Meaning that we look upon ourselves as lacking, wanting being, incomplete being, lacking, wanting. This is what I see myself. What does Vedanta say? You are limitless. So, the limitless self which is there, I do not see. And limited self which is not there, I see. See the rope snake example? The rope which is there, I do not see. The snake which is not there, I see. Similarly, the self that is limitless, complete, Brahman, I do not see. And the limitedness, the lack, want, smallness, inadequacy which is not there is what I see. Therefore, from the very birth, each one of us takes ourselves to be a limited being, inadequate being. What is inadequate? Not adequate, not complete, not sufficient. So I think that I am unhappy, I am wanting, I am lacking. If I get $1 million, I'll be all right. Meaning that without that $1 million, I am incomplete. If I get a house, I'll be all right. Meaning without the house, I am incomplete. If I get a new car, I'll be all right. Means without the car, I am incomplete. Thus, I take myself to be incomplete being, lacking being, wanting being, inadequate being. Vedanta says that this is the cause of all our problems in life, all our stresses in life. And therefore, the ultimate solution of all stress is knowledge that I am limitless. That is ultimate solution. But before that, so as I said, we will not talk much about that this morning. That's a big talk. But today we'll talk of something which is more practical. So Vedanta explains what is the cause of stress. Not understanding and not accepting the realities of life. Realities of life. There are certain realities of life. For example, when there is birth, there is going to be death. This is called reality. Bhagavad Gita says, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityuhu. Death is certain for the one who is born. It's a reality. When the sun rises, the sun will set. It's a reality. So thus there are many realities of life. One of the realities is that there are many things in the world which I cannot control. There are a few things I can control, there are many things I cannot control. That noise coming from outside, there is nothing I can do about it, I cannot control. Every moment, variety of events are happening before me, I cannot control. So we have these two things in our life. They are called prarabdha and purushartha. Prarabdha means destiny. Purushartha means self-effort. So we have this free will with which we can make effort. This is what I can control. I can control what I do, but I cannot control what you do. I can change myself, I cannot change you. That's a reality. If I don't accept that reality, what happens, All that constantly I try to change other people. This is one of the activities we do. Try to change other people. Husband tries to change the wife, and wife tries to change her. The whole life goes like that, Parents try to change children, children try to change parents. So this is one thing that, why do you want to change? Why does husband want to change the wife? Why does wife want to change husband? Husband wants that the wife should behave in a manner which is convenient to me. She should do what I like her to do. She should not do what I do not like her to do. Unfortunately, wife also wants the same thing. She wants her husband to do what she likes to do and doesn't want him to do what she doesn't like. So thus, last night we were saying we have likes and dislikes. And therefore, we have expectation of others. In every relationship, there are expectations of what the other person should do. Whether it's a relationship between the spouses, a relationship between parents and children, a relationship between friends, a relationship between a boss and subordinate, a relationship between colleagues, any relationship is characterized by these kind of expectations of what others should do. See, human being is a social being, and therefore we are always related to the world. From morning till evening, we are related to the world. As we say last night, we are playing variety of roles. So meaning that you are related as spouse, related as parent, related as children, related as friend, related as boss, related as subordinate. Thus, constantly we are related. This relationship is a big cause of stress. No relationship, no stress. See, cows and buffaloes and dogs have no relationship. At the most, they can remember the children up to a certain age, then they forget. No relationships, no expectations, and therefore no stresses. Forget about buffaloes. And buffalo I always remember because buffalo really is an amazing animal. When I go to work in the morning, I see the buffalo, a water buffalo, sitting quietly in a puddle of water with no worry in the world. And when I come back from work in the evening, I see that fellow still sitting there with no worry in the world. For the whole day, I go through so many stresses, and when I come back from work, I am so stressed out, and I see this fellow buffalo with nothing, no worries. I wonder whether I am better or buffalo is better. But unfortunately, we cannot go back to becoming buffalo because we are human beings. So the relationship is a very common cause of stress. Why does a relationship become a cause of stress? Because in every relationship there is an expectation. We always have expectation of what the other person should do. And what is my expectation? That I have likes and dislikes. I like certain things, I do not like certain things. So when what I like happens, I am happy. When what I do not like happens, I am unhappy, right? I am happy when what I like happens. Unhappy when what I do not like happens. So when a married couple, newly married couple, would come to a Swamiji, ask Swamiji, what is the duty of husband and wife? Swamiji would give a very simple advice. Look, duty of husband is to make wife happy, and duty of wife is to make husband happy. Ho gaya. You can spend the whole lifetime trying to do that, you know. What's the duty of husband? Make wife happy. Simple, is it not? And duty of wife is to make husband happy. Simple. Does it work out? Very difficult. You know, when can you make somebody happy? When do I become happy? I become happy when you do what I like you to do, and do not do what I do not want you to do. I have my own likes and dislikes, and what I want is my likes should be fulfilled, my dislikes should be avoided. Meaning that you should do what I like and should not do what I dislike. So if you want to make me happy, do a simple thing. Do what I like and don't do what I don't like. If you are a Swami, you are a lucky person. Because people give you a lot of benefit of doubt. So before a Swami comes to your home, usually they make inquiries. What does Swami like? What does Swami not like? So this morning I was asked, Swami, we understand that you like that there should be no sugar in the food. Already they have inquired. But how about Kerala? Would you like sugar in Kerala or not? I said, yes, please. Otherwise, it would be like our Swamiji, you know, is Kerala story. Our Swamiji's Kerala story is very famous. My Swamiji, Swami Dayanandji, many years ago, when he was, 30, 40 years ago, he did not like Kerala, didn't like bitter. Kerala means bitter gourd. It is bitter. And particularly the way Tamilians cook Kerala, they do not put any sweetness in there at all. It is very bitter. In Gujarat, they fry this Kerala, they do so that they beat it to death. So by the time they are done with Kerala, there is no bitterness left in that. But not so in Tamil Nadu. They leave Kerala as they are. And therefore Kerala is extremely bitter. It's understandable that people do not like it. Swamiji did not like Kerala. Now, Swamiji had a series of lectures in Delhi for 15 days. Lectures are in the morning, lectures are in the evening. Swamiji is invited for bhiksha, for lunch and for dinner. So first evening, the inauguration lecture is over, he is invited for bhiksha, and there it was a Tamilian family. They had cooked 3-4 vegetables. One of them was this Kerala or bitter gourd. It was served. Swami saw this bitter gourd being served in his plate. Swamiji's policy is deal with the unpleasant first. Deal with the unpleasant first so that you can enjoy the pleasant later on. Never following that policy, he first finished those Keralas so that he can enjoy other things later. But our ladies are very watchful and very obliging. It is in the United States they ask you, would you care for this? And then they serve you. In India, they do not even ask you. They simply serve you. So when the hostess found that Swamiji has finished the helping of Kerala, she thought Swamiji likes it, and therefore, without Swamiji asking, she another serving of Kerala. Swami finished that also, thinking that, all right, let us finish it. Third serving of Kerala. Thus, he had a tremendous share of Kerala that day. But it did not end there. What happens is, next day is to go for lunch. So before cooking, the lady who's going to cook there inquires, what does Swami like? So she inquires to the previous one, when Swami came to your home, what did he like? Oh, he likes Kerala. Thus the word spread. And Kerala reached before Swamiji everywhere. Imagine, for 15 days, lunch and dinner, lunch and dinner. One thing is sure, and that is Kerala. So sometimes this kind of things can happen if you do not know what the person likes and what he does not like. But Swamis usually get a good benefit of doubt. So the hosts always inquire beforehand. But that is not the case in the world. People do not know always what you like and what you do not like. Therefore, this causes stress. When things happen that I do not like, meaning, why do I have expectation from other people? Because I have my own likes and dislikes. What is my basic expectation? That you should do what I like, you should not do what I dislike. And whenever that does not happen, I become disappointed, I become hurt. So very often we get hurt when our likes and dislikes or our expectations are not satisfied. You find out all the hurt and anger arises from our expectations not being satisfied. Whenever you get angry, you can spend a little time and inquire, why did I get angry? You will find that there was some expectation. So Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Kama esha, krodha esha. What is kama becomes krodha. What is expectation or demand turns into anger. So when our expectation or demand is not fulfilled, that very demand or expectation turns into anger. Therefore, anger is a big stress, of course. Not only turns into anger, but I get hurt. Hurt is a big stress. Because if I am hurt, I get angry. I get angry, I do something. I say something which is improper. Whenever I act out of anger, usually my behavior will be hurtful. When I am in my good mind, then I always take care to not hurt your feelings. But when I get angry, at that time I am not in control of myself. Who controls me? The anger controls me. Therefore, it is anger that speaks. I don't speak. All my wisdom, all my culture at that time is relegated to background. Even a very cultured person, very educated person, even a Durvasa, highly educated, great tapasvi, you know Durvasa? But known as an angry person. What demands what others should do. And then when Durvasa gets angry, people won't go around him. Angry people, people always avoid. And these angry people are very predictable people. So people around them know when this person will get angry. So what to avoid? Our Swamiji was saying that many years ago somebody was talking. This fellow was working in a government office. The boss was a very angry person. So these people working under him, they knew what to avoid so they doesn't get angry. So when a new fellow will come, new employee would come, the old fellows will sort of train him as to how to conduct yourself so that you don't get into trouble. Says, look, our boss is a very angry person. Avoid this topic, avoid this issue. You want to see something? Come. So this senior person takes his junior person to his boss and deliberately raises that issue which the boss doesn't like, and the boss gets angry. See that? Thus every mother knows how when the father gets angry. Very often people are angry. They have all kinds of problems at home. They come home angry. And so mother knows what she tells the children. Avoid talking about this to your father. He'll get angry. So very often, you know what happens? As this man enters the home, everybody disappears. All the teenager children, they go away into their room. The wife goes away into kitchen. Only thing that comes is a dog, that's all. But dog also comes and then he also runs away. Anger is a big stress arising from a sense of hurt. So hurt and guilt are these two big things. Hurt is a stress and guilt is a stress. Hurt comes when my expectation or demand is not fulfilled, then I am hurt. And guilt comes whenever I do something which is not proper in my perception. This hurt and guilt, both of them are the result of expectations that we have from other people. Unfortunately, in every relationship, even between the teacher and the student, the teacher has expectations of student and student also has expectation of teacher. Guru and Shishya. Don't think that Shishyas don't have expectation. Don't think that it looks like it is nice to be a Swami, nice to be a Guru, so you are always served and taken care of. Don't think so. Don't think that the Shishyas do not have expectation of Guru. They have. Shishyas are all watching Gurus. What they do, what they do not, every little movement is watched. And if the Guru also does not fulfill expectation, he is also discarded. So this expectation is a big cause of stress. Understand this. Stress is an effect. Expectation or demand is the cause. But if you want to get rid of stress, give up this. Give up what? Give up expectation. Give up demand. How do you give up? What is expectation? What is demand? Expectation or demand is that the other person should change for my sake. The basic expectation. So that I am happy, I am comfortable. You should change. You should do what I want you to do so that I am happy, I am comfortable. But that expectation is a big potential of disappointment. Whenever there is an appointment, there is always a possibility of disappointment. Whenever there is an expectation or a demand, there is always a possibility that your demand may not be fulfilled. Your expectation may not be fulfilled. Sometimes people do not even know that you have expectation. So they are just innocent. Some children are innocent. Parents have expectation of children, what they should do. Children sometimes do not even know that parents have these expectations, that he should sit like this, Parents would, when Swamiji comes, normally a child is doing what it is doing in the house. Rolling over, running around. But the rules change. When a Swamiji comes, the rules change. You are supposed to sit in a certain way. Don't stretch your legs, stretch straight. Child doesn't know that. So when he doesn't do this, what the parents expect, he gets punishment. But sometimes others do not know what expectations we have of them. Understand that when we have expectation from others, very often other people do not even know that we have these expectations. Some people are like that. They don't express what they want, but they always demand things. That when I enter, you must behave in a certain way. You must treat me in a certain way. People don't know. And they get hurt. There is a famous story in our Puranas. You know Brahmaji, Brahma is the creator. So once Brahmaji is sitting in his court with all the devatas were there in the court. At that time, one person, his name was Daksha Prajapati, he enters. Daksha is the son of Brahma. And Daksha is the father-in-law of Lord Shiva. Daksha's daughter, her name was Sati. And she was married to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is the son-in-law of Daksha. Daksha is the father-in-law. Now Daksha is appointed as Prajapati. Prajapati means the lord of all the beings. It's a big post. So Daksha is very proud. I am Prajapati. When I am Prajapati, you should treat me in a certain way. All of us have some opinion about ourselves, you know. In Gujarat they call it vham. In English they call it notion. Everybody has notion about themselves. As to who am I? Not that I have notion about myself, who am I, but I expect you to fulfill my notion, meaning you should treat me the way I expect myself to be. So Daksha Prajapati also had this notion as to how he should be treated. When he enters his court, everybody stands up, rises in respect of him. But Lord Shiva is in his own world, and therefore he failed to rise when Daksha Prajapati entered. There's no intention on the part of Lord Shiva. You know how Lord Shiva is, always in samadhi and in some world of his own. So when Daksha Prajapati entered, he not intentionally, he just failed to rise. Now hundreds of people rose. One person did not rise. For Daksha Prajapati, hundreds of people rising in respect was not important. This person did not rise in respect of me. He got angry. Expectation brings about anger. And when you are angry, you behave in a manner which is not becoming of you. Daksha Prajapati is a great man. Now he has a certain status. And therefore, he should act in a dignified manner. He forgot all the dignity. He started saying all kinds of things to Lord Shiva. He insulted Lord Shiva in presence of everybody. Lord Shiva listened to that, okay? But Daksha Prajapati is not satisfied even with that. He says, he has insulted me. He took it as insult. Lord Shiva did not mean to insult him. But Daksha Prajapati interpreted that behavior as insult. I'll insult him in front of everybody. So Daksha Prajapati deliberately organized a big sacrificial ritual, big yaga, lasting for several days. He invited all the devatas, all the rishis. He deliberately did not invite Lord Shiva, so that everybody knows to insult him. See how this thing happened? One insult is reacted by another insult. So this is how things go on. Expectations or demands are a great cause of stress. So what should you do? Simple thing. If you want to remain free from a lot of stress, just give up demands. Give up expectations. Give up what other person should do for you. as Kennedy said, ask not what America should do for you. Ask what you should do for America. Similarly, ask not what others should do for you. Ask what you should do for others. Not what the wife should do for the husband, what husband should do for the wife. Not what husband should do for the wife, what wife should do for the husband. If this happens, all the stresses arising from relationship will be removed. You know something? Our hurt comes from relationship, and maximum hurt comes from people who are closely related to us. You see that? Who hurts me the most? The person who is closest. Why is it so? A close friend can hurt me more than anybody else. My spouse can hurt me more than anybody else. Closer the person, more possible hurt. You know why? Because closer the person, more the expectation. More the expectation, more the possibility of expectation not being fulfilled, more the possibility of disappointment, and therefore more the possibility of hurt and stress. There was this simple rule: give up expectation. What does it mean? It means that accept other people as they are. This is reality, that this is how the person is. This is how the nature is. This is how God, Ishvara, has made this person. Man or woman, this is what they are. Accept them as they are. This is called graceful acceptance. Graceful acceptance of what is. There's a nice book called Loving What Is. We don't love what is. We love things only after adding spices. We don't love food as it is. If you serve some salad in my plate, like cucumber, carrot, etc., etc., you know what I do? Give me some salt, some pepper, some lemon, I add all of this and then eat, meaning that we do not accept things as they are, we always want to change them to our taste. So, accept the people as they are, respect the people as they are, love the people as they are. Meaning that, do not demand that I will love this person only if the person changes. Love them as they are. Accept them as they are. This is called graceful acceptance. You know the prayer, serenity prayer. Lord, give me the serenity to accept what I cannot change. In Vedanta we'll say, God, give me the maturity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. Understand that I cannot change the world. I cannot change others. Nobody can change anybody else. I cannot change you unless you want to change. At the most, I can change myself. Therefore, if you want to change, change our own self. This is called yoga. Trying to change others is called samsara. Trying to change ourselves is called yoga. So normally what people do, they keep themselves intact and change everything around. But what happens is, my likes, dislikes remain intact, so I change things. And then my fanciful mind says, no, not this way, some other way. Again you change. Again, as long as you retain yourself as you are, as long as your likes and dislikes do not change, as long as your expectations do not change, so long whatever changes you carry out will never be sufficient because our mind is such that it likes and dislikes, its fancies keep on changing. Meaning that even if the other person changes to make you happy, how long will you remain happy? For a short period of time, and then you demand something else. That person changes, helps and to make you happy, so you are happy, again you demand something else. This is how the mind is. More you satisfy the demand of the mind, more the mind demands. In Vedanta, they say that this demand or expectation is like fire. Fulfilling expectation is like pouring butter into fire. Can you imagine quenching fire with gasoline? There is fire, you want to quench with gasoline, what will happen? There is fire, you want to quench fire with butter, what will happen? Fire becomes, more demanding. Similarly, our demands and expectations are like fire. More you satisfy those expectations, more they grow in intensity. And therefore, a time will come when nobody can satisfy the expectation. Thus, by making demand and expectations, we are setting ourselves up for being disappointed and being hurt and being angry and being stressful. Therefore, one simple thing, one source of stress is relationship. Why? In fact, relationships are meant to give us happiness. People get married not for becoming miserable, they get married for becoming happy. What happens? In the beginning, I love you, I love you, I love you. Later on, I love you, I love you, I love you. That is because not having that maturity. What is maturity? Maturity is in giving up expectations. Maturity is in gracefully accepting what is, gracefully accepting the person as the person is. Understand that everybody is a combination of virtues and shortcomings, guna and dosha. Everything is a combination of virtues and shortcomings. Nothing that is born is perfect, and nothing that is born is useless also. Everything has some use, at the same time everything has imperfections. Similarly, any person with whom I am related is going to have many virtues, at the same time they are also going to have some limitations, some shortcomings. Therefore, we have to accept the whole package. What we want is, we want one part of the person. All virtues and good things we want, the other things we don't want. That doesn't work. When you get a rose, what do you get along with it? The thorns will come along with it. I have no choice. When I want to enjoy the fragrance of the rose, the beauty of the rose, the tenderness of the rose, I should also have to accept the thorns. But you know what we do? We learn how to deal with the thorns. We know that the rose comes with a thorn. Therefore, we train ourselves to handle the rose in such a manner that we are not hurt by the thorns. Is it not so? Mosquitoes. What do you do with mosquitoes? Mosquitoes will bite. That's the reality of mosquito. So what do? You have a mosquito net. Meaning that this is the nature of things. There is a person who is a mad person. In India, these fellows are sometimes wandering in street. Sometimes they are standing on the corner of the street. For the whole day, he collects all kinds of rags. He has a big property at the end of the day. He's standing there, laughing. When you pass by, he laughs at you and says all kinds of, hey, A skinhead, he can address you. No, he doesn't know what this is, Swami. And therefore, he can say things in an insulting manner. Do you also try? You also retaliate? No, you know he's a mad person. What do you expect from him? So mosquitoes cannot hurt us. Mad persons cannot hurt us. Dogs and cats cannot hurt. Nature does not hurt us. Why? Because we have no expectation from them. Understand? Mosquito bites. What do you expect from mosquito stings? That's what a mosquito is. And therefore, I don't get angry. It may be painful, is one thing, but I don't get angry. I don't get hurt because a mosquito stung me. If a dog barks at me, I don't get hurt because what can a dog do? It will bark. Suppose my friend barks at me, suppose. I get upset. Suppose the spouse stings, I get upset. Meaning that the kind of freedom I give to other people, the kind of freedom I give to a mad person, I do not give a part of it even to my friend. From a mad person, I have no expectation, and therefore, whatever be the behavior does not hurt me, does not affect me. Whereas from a friend, I have all kinds of expectations, and therefore, his or her behavior will hurt me. So what's the simple rule? Simple rule is, the kind of benefit that you give to a mad person, give to your friend. The kind of benefit you give to a mosquito, give to your spouse. Kind of benefit we give to the whole nature, how we accept them. We know that this is how they are. If a bear comes, you don't hate the bear. You know how to deal with it, how to run away, how to hide. You do what is required to be done. But you are not hurt. You are not angry. You follow what I am saying? Whereas the relation with human beings, unfortunately, people have no problem with pets. That's amazing. You know why people have pets? Because that's the easiest relationship. Because a pet such as a dog is a non-demanding creature. A pet does not demand anything from you except giving some biscuits and except caressing him, That's all a pet demands. Therefore, it is easy to relate to a pet. Because pet does not make any demand on you. Pet doesn't say, why do you dress like this? Dog doesn't say, hey, why do you dress like this today? Or, why do you look like this today? A dog does not demand at all. Dog accepts you as you are, and therefore you are very comfortable with a dog. So our Swamiji says that when this person comes home, he knows how he will be greeted by his dog. He can never be sure how he will be greeted by his spouse. Because dog has no expectation. It comes jumping up and down. Whereas the human beings have expectation. But this is a reality. And therefore, what benefit we give to a dog, even a fraction of it, we give to people who relate to us and accept them as they are. How I accept my dog as it is. Similarly, the extent to which I can accept the people around me, related to me, the extent to which I can accept them as they are, to that extent my expectations are less, to that extent the possibility of disappointment is less, to that extent the possibility of getting hurt is less, to that extent the possibility of getting angry is less. And therefore, they remove the cause, the effect gets removed. And thus, expectation is a big cause of stress. Each one of us has expectations. It is natural to expectations. Swami, expectation is natural. From spouse you have the expectation. From children you have expectation. Without expectation, how will they do things? I have expectation my children should study well, it's natural. I have expectation my spouse should behave in a certain manner, it's natural. Okay. Have expectation. But what we would say, it is all right if you have expectation, but do not demand that your expectation should be fulfilled. You are free to have expectation, but do not demand that your expectation should be fulfilled. Meaning that you respect the other person, even if the person does not fulfill your expectation. So all that expectation is okay, but no expectation that expectation should be fulfilled. Be ready for the expectation not to be fulfilled, because it is a reality of life. The other person may not fulfill my expectation because they have their own mind, they have their own likes and dislikes, they have their own problems. World wants to make me happy, but then they have their own problems. Therefore, because of their problems, they may not be able to fulfill my demands. Not they don't love me, they love me. But still, people have their own difficulties. Therefore, when do I say you love me? When you do what I want you to do. That's my definition of love. So it's not necessary. You may love me, that doesn't mean that you are able to fulfill all my expectations. And therefore, we accept people gracefully, kindly, compassionately, as they are, as best as possible. And be ready that I do not reject somebody because somebody does not fulfill my expectation. I have to grow. I grow in my own generosity. This doesn't happen right away. Does not happen, without growth. Thus every relationship requires that I should grow. Grow bigger than my expectations. What is growth? Growth is slowly letting go of my expectations and demands and accepting other people and situations as they are. The extent to which I can do that, to that extent, my disappointments will be few, my hurt will be few, my stress will be less. And so, just one lesson this morning. What's the lesson? And very practical lesson. Because every moment we are related to people. Spouse is not the only relationship. Related to neighbor, related to your colleague, related to even a shopkeeper, related everywhere. Everywhere there are problems. People fight with shopkeepers, they fight with conductors, they fight with drivers, they fight with other motorists, they fight with, because this fellow when he's driving, you see him all the time in his car, he's screaming at people around. This fellow cut me off, this fellow doesn't drive, he's too slow. Thus even when all other, the rest of the all traffic should regularize to suit him. They should all drive at the speed he wants. Nobody should overtake him. Nobody should cut him. All the traffic lights should be green. Traffic lights should not be red. It doesn't happen. Gets angry. And thus imagine what all expectations we have. What is an expectation? Not accepting the reality as it is. What is an expectation? Changing the reality. But realities are realities, and I can change very little because I can at the most change myself. I cannot change the world. I cannot change it. That's the reality. Gracefully accept the reality. Then the chances of disappointments are less. Chances of hurt are less. Chances of anger are less. Chances of hurt and guilt are less. Chances of stress are less. One thing will make us happy, that will contribute to so much happiness and peace in our life? One simple thing is try to let go. We do not even know what expectations we have. But from now on, whenever you get angry, when you are hurt, or when you get angry, ask this question of yourself. Hurt can come only when my expectation or demand is not fulfilled. So whenever I get hurt, I ask, why did I get hurt? What expectation I had which did not get fulfilled? Ask this question. You will always find something. Then ask yourself, can I let go of that demand? Always find there was some demand that did not get fulfilled, therefore you are hurt. So every hurt will reveal a certain demand. You follow? Thus we can learn from every experience. Even from a painful experience, we can learn. From experience of hurt also, we can learn what expectation I had which was not fulfilled. Thus we learn about our own mind. We don't even know our own mind properly. So as we come to learn our expectations, ask ourselves, can I let this go? Can I drop this demand? Can I drop the expectation? If you can drop, you have grown that much. You follow? Meaning, there is one less cause for hurt and anger. Thus, every time we come to know of expectation, we ask this question, can I let it go? Can I drop? That is dropping the burden. Dropping, a burden of stress we are carrying with ourselves. More burden you drop off, lighter you become, less stressful you become. Thus, stress management is managing the stress by trying to remove the cause of the stress. What is the cause? Expectation, demand from the world, from other people, particularly from people who are close to us, unfortunately. Closer a person is, more the expectations are. And therefore, more the possibility of disappointment, hurt and anger. So let us give them the freedom. What is freedom? By accepting them as they are, with their limitations, with their problems, with their defects. Because whoever is created a combination of virtue and defect. Whatever is created is imperfect. And therefore, everybody and everything has imperfections. So that is the reality of life. So gracefully accept the reality that people around me I am imperfect, what to talk of others? I ask myself this question, am I able to fulfill other people's expectations always? No. When other people make demands upon us, say, hey, I don't care what you think, what do you want, I don't care. Meaning that very often we do not fulfill other people's expectations, but we expect them to fulfill our expectations. So we are not fair. So whatever benefit we give to ourselves, at least that much benefit we can give to others. And thus, this one simple rule of trying to grow out of our expectations or demands will greatly reduce the stress. If not all the stress, a lot of stress will be reduced by this one simple thing. So that's what we have to share with you this morning, and we'll see you again in the evening. You had a question, go ahead.
Question, like expectations for yourself, can that be detrimental for your own advancement in career or in your personal growth in terms of job, in terms of your own career? Because when you keep expectations to higher advance yourself, there is the risk of having a failure or not achieving that. How do you deal with this in real life?
Very good question.
Because that may affect the spiritual growth or that may affect the growth going well in the career. So do you not keep expectations for yourself to feel better or to feel happy?
Very good question. How about the expectation that we have of ourselves? That I should advance in my career, I should be more well informed, I should improve my skills, I should advance my career. Those expectations are always there. It is those expectations that motivate us to do better. Should we have them or not have them? But then also remember this rule, that you have the freedom to expectation, but do not expect that all your expectations will be fulfilled. Meaning, do not demand from yourself that you must always fulfill your expectation of yourself. Don't condemn yourself. Accept yourself also gracefully. Have expectation. If that motivates you to do better, all right, try. But suppose you are not able to fulfill your expectation of yourself, meet with expectation of yourself, don't condemn yourself. Because self-condemnation is a big problem. As I condemn others, I also condemn myself. Self-condemnation is a big cause of stress. Therefore, accept yourself. This is a big problem with every human being, not with, everybody has this problem. We all want to advance. We all want to be more successful than we are. And what happens is, we compare ourselves with others. That's the problem. This buffalo doesn't have a problem, and cow doesn't have a problem. No comparison. So if one cow is giving more milk, other cow gives less milk, one cow doesn't feel jealous of the other cow. No jealousy, no competition, no comparison, no stress. But here as human beings, we keep on comparing ourselves with others. We want to be like others, that's the problem. I do not respect what I am, I want to be somebody else. Okay? So you want to be somebody else? That's your definition of it. He is successful, I am not successful. If I become like him, I will be successful. As I am not successful. If I become like him, I will be successful. So we are trying to become somebody else. Okay? Try. But again, accept yourself gracefully. If you are not able to fulfill all your expectations of yourself, accept yourself also gracefully. Meaning, accept your limitations also gracefully. Remember that. So, remember that I am also a limited person. Like everybody else, I have virtues also as well as limitations. So just as I gracefully accept my virtues, I also accept my limitations. Accepting limitation does not mean I do not want to overcome limitation. Accepting my limitation means I do not condemn myself for having limitation. You follow? Acceptance does not mean not changing. Acceptance means not complaining, not condemning, not resisting. That's called acceptance. People think that acceptance means not doing anything. No. Acceptance is not the description of an action. It is an attitude. What's attitude? Attitude arising from an appreciation of reality. What's the reality? That I am a limited being. Yes, I have a commitment to overcome my limitation. But I cannot demand that I will always be able to fulfill my own expectation. Just as I do not demand that others should fulfill my expectation. I gracefully accept them. Similarly, I should also not demand that I can fulfill my expectations. I should try. If I do not fulfill, I should gracefully accept myself without condemning myself, without rejecting myself. Because this self-rejection, self-condemnation causes sadness and depression. So all sadness and depression arises from self-rejection or self-condemnation. Why self-rejection? Because I do not accept the self. I do not accept my shortcomings, my limitations gracefully. Because I want to be somebody else. And I demand that I should be as good as somebody else. But somebody else is somebody else. And I am what I am. Everybody is unique. And therefore, I accept gracefully my place in scheme of things. With a commitment to improve, with a commitment to do better. At the same time, not rejecting myself or not condemning myself for what I am. Then you do that, yes? Yes, sir.
The serenity prayer, the other two parts, I was asking the Lord, give me courage to change what I can. And the other part is,
Give me the wisdom to know the difference.
know what the difference is, what I can change and what I cannot change. Since I don't know what I can change and what I cannot change, I'm always, so I have to try. And unless I try, I don't know whether I can change, that I don't have knowledge whether I can do it or not before I start. So I keep on my whole life, I'm trying to change, thinking that I can change that, then I find out I cannot change. But it may be, I may have to work hard to change. So where do I stop and where do I continue? So that's my dilemma, and I always am in this.
God, give me the serenity to accept what I cannot change. Give me courage to change what I can. Give me the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change, what I cannot change. In general, we can say that I have the freedom to change myself, but I do not have freedom to change others. And therefore, changing others is a very frustrating endeavor. Others will change if they want to change. So what I can do is to create in them an appreciation of change. I can motivate them, I can create in them an understanding that change will help them. If they decide to change, then only they will change. All I can do is to create in them a desire to change. You follow? I can't change anybody unless that person wants to change. What can I do? I can create in a person the need to change. When the person sees a need, that person will change. So, give me the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change, what I cannot change. Number one, I can change myself, and I cannot change others. So it's very frustrating. Trying to change others is a very frustrating thing. All we can do is, we can do the best that we can. We can create in them a desire to change. If we can create, then they will change. We cannot change them, we can create, we can inspire them with a need to change. I do try, inspire them. And that inspiration is very often change. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see. Very famous statement of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you want to see. You want to see that change in another person, be that change. So how he demonstrated that in his own life? I tell these events of Mahatma Gandhi as he was once traveling in train in the olden days, in a third-class compartment, because he insisted upon traveling in third class, which created a big problem for the British for his security. But that's what he always did. He was one among people. So he's traveling in a crowded third-class compartment. People are seated on his berth, and the berth across, that's how it is. One of the passengers seated across Mahatma Gandhi was coming from a village, not educated or not cultured, an uncultured person. So he had no idea of what is hygiene and how to behave. So that man was suffering from cough and cold, and therefore he was coughing frequently. There was phlegm in his throat which was clearing. He would clear the phlegm, just spit right on the floor. That is how he was. You know what Mahatma Gandhi did? He was reading newspaper. He cut a piece of newspaper, cleaned that thing and threw it out of window. So that man got angry. He says, who are you to do this? He spat again. Patiently, Gandhiji again tore a piece of paper. It happened number of times. Then a time came when that fellow really was changed. He says, hey, here is a person, he is a different guy. Who are you? He realized that this is not an ordinary person. He says, look, because Gandhiji maintained his cool, maintained his compassion, no anger, not demanding that that person should change, accepting gracefully what that person is. He realizes that he has no freedom to be other than what he is. This is how his nature is, and he is just following his nature. Therefore, Gandhi says, this is my nature, this is his nature. You know that sadhu, once he went to a river and he saw one scorpion being swept in the current of water. This sadhu was very compassionate. He picked up that scorpion in his palm to put it in the dry place, and scorpion stung him. His hand shook and that fellow, scorpion fell back in water. He picked up again. Again he stung. Again he fell. 6 times this happened. 7th time he picked up, and before the scorpion stung him, he put it in the dry place. Somebody was watching, so what are you doing? Don't you know that scorpion sting? Why do you pick him up? He says, it is the nature of scorpion to sting. It is my nature to save him. He follows his nature, I follow my nature. Similarly, Gandhiji accepts this person. It is his nature to do this. What is my nature? To clean, because I have value for hygiene. He doesn't have. When this was done a number of times, then that fellow ultimately realized what he was doing. He fell at the feet of Gandhiji. I am very sorry for what I have done. Please pardon me. So Gandhiji was a baniya. You know who is a baniya? Baniya means he extracts his price. He says, look, if you really think that what you are doing is not wrong, take a vow of not doing this again. And number 2, if anybody in your vicinity does it, that you will clean it up. That's called a baniya. That's how a change happened in that person. How did it happen? By a change in his own self. Be the change you want to see. That's the right way. That requires a big person to do this. But we can try our way. That if you want others to change, create a situation in which they are motivated to change. If they decide to change, they will change. If you demand the change, they will not change. If you demand that he should change, they will resist and they will revolt. But if you create a situation in which they should change, they will on their own change. Meaning that this endeavor on our part to change others often is a very frustrating experience. What we can do is to change ourselves and hope that by taking our example, others will change. So, this is what I cannot change. Is what? I cannot change others. I can change them. What? I can change myself. So give me courage to change what I can. Give me courage to change myself. Give me the serenity to accept what I cannot change, other people. If this is there, where is the problem? No stress, no misery, no anger, no conflict. Unfortunately, everybody wants others to change. Conflicts all arise from that. America would want that Iraq should change. Iraq would want this fellow should change. Taliban wants them to change. Afghanistan wants this to change. Everybody wants others to change. Moment you demand change, they will resist, they will revolt. Anyway, the point is that as far as we are concerned, we cannot change the world. All we can do is to change ourselves. And we can initiate a process of self-growth. by becoming larger than what we are. Last time we talked about the emotional growth. That's what is called emotional growth, emotional maturity. More maturity is there, less stress is there, less unhappiness is there, more peace is there, more happiness is there. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.